Hi again, guys. Welcome back to volume 5, part 3. So this is now part 3 of volume 5, and we will continue this storyline, and you will get to understand how things is starting to progress. So we never had sex ever. So again, I was dating this Brinks truck guy for 2 weeks. We never had sex. We never do anything. We just only talk. But then I realized that this man was very arrogant. So he started to talk to me in a way that was very rude and boisterous and very rough. So yeah, I remember being in Christiana Town now, and he saw me, and the way how he was talking to me, because of course, because I did not have sex with him, he was like upset. So he's still having that grudge. So I quickly walked away from him, and then from that day I did not see him again. And I went back home. What happened is I got away. So I went back in. No one was up. The door was still half open as how I left it. Like it was somewhat shut, looked like it was shut, but it was still just open just enough where I was able to just squeeze back myself through. And of course I knew I left everyone in danger that night, but thank God no one was harmed, neither myself, and I didn't get caught. So I was so happy the way how I quickly sneaked back into the house silently and took the stuff off the bed, put them back where they need to go, and tiptoe go into the bed like everything was cool. Woke up the next morning, got ready for school, after school like nothing happened. So remember, I broke up with that other taxi man, so now I'm not having any sexual intercourse. So I was somewhat starting to go back through that sexual withdrawal again. This was like after like a month, because now I was not having any sexual intercourse. So I started feeling that withdrawal again that I was facing before. So now this is where things got a bit, I know, devastating. It sounds weird, but this was my reality at the time. So I ended up, after a month of sexual withdrawal, again, the guy that was living in the house that I was living with my guardian, he was still performing orals with me every night or every other night. But again, that was not enough. I needed, So what happened was I met 2 taxi drivers. Yes, I met 2 taxi drivers, and they literally, I met one after the other. So within space of 2 weeks, like I met one of them, and then I didn't like him. I thought at first he was really hot when I saw him on the outside, but then could not. And then I just broke it off with him, and then I met another one in the space of like 3 weeks after that, and then didn't like him either, and that was short-lived. Yes, that was short-lived. And that was short-lived because this taxi driver, he had so many women, and of course some of those taxi drivers at that time, they were very like hot boys, so they had multiple different women, schoolgirls and all of that. So I was not in that competition thing, and I couldn't deal with it, so I walked away. And of course he would get in his feelings because I was not giving him the same attention that I was before. And I was like, yes, that's it, like whatever, like I don't need you. And that's how I told you guys I was acting reckless at this point because of the heartbreak from the guy who took my virginity. I started acting reckless. I started saying, yeah, I don't care. But at the same time, I needed love. I needed that attention. So it was just so weird. I don't know how to describe it, guys. Like, honestly, I was going through it. Yes. But at the same time, I was very much cautious because, again, I did not want to get caught, and I had to be mindful of how I was doing things. I became very, very smart in outsmarting my families. So they did not have any inclination of anything. And at the same time, it was God that was keeping me, because there was just so much things that I could have gotten caught up with, and I never get caught. Like, it's so weird. Like, even now saying it is so weird. Like, every time I have to thank God, and I look back at it, like God has been in it through it all. Honestly, it was just like continuous risk that I was taking, even with my guardian ex. He was just like, because I needed that closeness. And because I broke up with those other two taxi men that I spoke on, it's like I need it. But so this guy, I was just using him for, again, the whole oral thing, because I was never attracted to him. This was the man that was living in the household where myself and my guardian and my cousin and my brother was living. So it was my guardian ex-partner. So now I decided that if he wanted to continue, because I was not attracted to him, I then gave him an ultimatum. I said to him, if he wants to continue performing orals on me, he will need to start paying me. Yes. So now I turned it monetary. I said to him, pay me and you can continue. Now he was not hesitating. He was up for it without ease, because he know that, okay, if he doesn't comply, then I would not let him do what he wanted to do, right? So he complied. He started paying me and he was giving me money. So now I had money and I was able to save some money, and I was hiding that I had money, of course, because where am I getting this money from? So I couldn't let anyone know that I had money. Even when I knew I had money, I had to pretend again like I'm a child still, even though I was doing these things. So I remember one of the days now, I went into the town to get some hair products for my hair and some other little bits and bobs, because of course now I have my money and everything. I could, be a little more independent, but again, being cautious not to get caught off why or where I'm getting money from. So anyways, I saw this same man, my guardian ex-partner, who was our partner at the time, in the town, and he quickly looked around to see if there was like any of my family members around, and he saw that I was by myself, and then he came up to me and he started begging me, like, please let us extend it more than just what we're doing right now. And I said to him, no. I said, no, if you don't want to continue just with the orals, then leave it. I am not going any further. That's it. I said, I'm already disrespecting my guardian, doing all of this thing, and then now you want to add something else to it. I said, no, I'm not doing it. And I started acting like that. And then I said, listen, I can't stand here and talk. Be careful that people see you talking to me, because people knew my guardian. I walked away from him and he said, all right, okay. All right, let's just keep it to that. And I said, okay. And then I walked away. And as I walk away, he said, okay, I won't ask you for intercourse again. And what I will do, I will give you more money. And then I said, okay. And then walked away. So because now he said that as well, that he would give me more money, I said, all right, you know what? Let him do the oral. So he continued with the oral, even though he gave me more money and there was nothing else added to it. And the oral continued. Yeah. And as I said, I was able to do whatever I needed to do with my own money and everything without raising any alarm. So again, I was still maintaining a smart move when it came to how I was acting and dealing with certain instances. As I said before, where I was sexually deprived now because I was out of a relationship for now, like say a month now or so. I was now out of a relationship, but I was still getting oral pleasures from my guardian, now ex-partner. So at the time they were together, but yeah, but that was not enough for me and I needed more. So now after like a month or so, I met now this other guy. But this other guy, before I knew that he was a taxi driver, I saw him in another car that was really nice. So it was one of those cars that I think it just came from the US. He was one of those guys that traveled back and forth to the US as well. So he literally had his money. But I did not realize that he too was a taxi driver at that time when I met him, until afterwards I realized that he was a taxi driver. So he was running the route that I was going to school. So it was just perfect at that time, and he matched the description of everything that I needed. So, and he really likes me and I liked him. And at this time, you guys can probably count the amount of men that I have been with now, which is okay. It's my testimony, so I'm just sharing everything to let you know that your past situation don't define who you are. And of course, those situations are my past. It doesn't define me, because I am blessed. Thank God for his grace and his mercies. So now I turn 14 years old. So now I'm 14, and this guy that I met, he literally was married. Yeah, so not only that he matched my description, and I did not realize he was a taxi man at the time, and I didn't, because of course the car that he had was very nice, and he traveled to the US on a regular basis, and he liked me and I liked him. So I found out now that he was married, but I did not care. I did not care. And it was sad, but at the time I did not understand what marital relation means and how important marriage is to God. So of course at the time I was moving reckless with this married man, but he too was moving reckless because he was enjoying the whole, me and everything. His lifestyle was like filled with luxury, like no joke. He was like a flashy guy. He was very flashy, but he was very caring as well. So he really, really cared for me. Like we were in like a good long-term. I think he was one of the longest that I was in a relationship with. Yes, we never got caught in a sense. So as time progresses, you will understand. But yeah, so now it felt so good to find somebody that you're attracted to, and they tick all the boxes, and he had his money, and it's like it felt really, really good. So this time, because of obviously he was now running in the same route that I go to school, so it was now easy access. So now I found myself bunking or sculling school every single chance I got. So I'm going to do a continuation of part 3.